everybody. I am so glad to have you guys here today. Thanks for coming. Hopefully this makes sense. I'm Oni Onyabor, and this is the Oni Onyabor Raising Project, week 3 of Operation Goose Rocket, and today we're going to be talking about goals. Now, if you guys were able to catch week 1, you'll see that we talked about habits, right? Week 2, I was really overwhelmed, super burnt out, have a lot of lessons there, and we'll kind of dive into that a little bit. But a lot of what we were learning this week is just how to set goals, right? Because in week 1 we talked about habits and essentially how habits are informed by your values, and your values are informed by your being, or kind of who you want to be. So it's really, really important that if you want to go implement everything that you're going to learn about goals, go watch that video first, because we're going to be referencing your pyramid of values. And if you don't have that, this is not going to make too much sense. I mean, I would still do it if you want to do it, but definitely go check out that video and then come back here. About being is, that's about who you want to be, right? Obviously, like, that's in the word itself, but that's really important because one of the things is when you're making goals, right, especially like if it's arbitrary, you kind of have to really know what is the character you're trying to embody in that vision of yourself, right? Now, that's really, really important because you see, everything comes down to your fundamental being and your identity, right? So that might be another way to put that, your identity, right? How you see yourself. And from that identity, everything else is going to stem, right? And so if you want to change the fundamental way your life is looking, you have to change the way you're showing up by virtue of how you see yourself. Because then after your being an identity, then underneath that's going to be the vision or like the future you see for your life, right? And then underneath that is going to be the values. And these are the real core things that are going to sort of inform the way you're living your life and how that's working out. Now that's going to be really key to understand what your values are. The issue with so many people, especially authors and artists, is they don't really know the values they're living by. They're just trying to get by, and they're living by the basic values of everyone else around them. And the issue and the difficulty is you cannot have the same values of the consumer and be a creator, right? So let me say that again. You cannot have the values of a consumer and be a creator. They're not going to work, right? It doesn't work like that, right? So like the locust, right, has a different role when it's making crops than the farmer. So if you think like a locust, but you're trying to plant and grow crops, it's never going to work, right? Because the values don't interline. It's going to create cognitive dissonance. So in order to eliminate that cognitive dissonance basically meaning the difference in how you're moving in the world versus how you feel like you ought to move in the world, right? And that creates a tension internally within us. So it's essentially when you know you're incongruent with your actions and the way you want to see your life and the way reality is, you feel cognitive dissonance. It's sort of an unease about your life. And that's where a lot of that comes in, especially as an artist. Like, you'll get things like anxiety, depression, a lot of sort of the mental illness stuff you see that comes in often comes because of that cognitive dissonance, because what's happening is your values are not aligned with how you're living your life. And so it's really important that you clarify your values, right? Which is, once again, if you haven't seen it, I'll put a little tag up in the video before, for the video before, so that you can see how to sort of determine and clarify your values. But it's really important that you know who you want to be and you build a vision. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And then from those values, you then determine what habits you need to get, right? That's all in video 1, right? And then from that, that's how you use your time. And finally then is when we talk about goals. So if you haven't done all that work, setting goals is pretty useless, honestly, because you don't really know who you're trying to become, so goals aren't really helpful, right? Because the difference between a habit and a goal, so say for instance, like, I want to write every day. That's not a goal, that's a habit, right? A goal is, I want to write 35,000 words in 6 months, right? Because goals are set up with the SMART acronym, yeah? So you need them to be specific, measurable, obtainable, right? Realistic, and time sensitive. And so that's the most important thing when making your goals, right? That's sort of SMART adjective. And so yeah, before you go to the goals though, it's really important that you establish all that groundwork and that you've written it out, right? So in this pyramid, just think, who do I want to be? What's my vision for the future in my life? What are my values? What are the habits that I'll need to live out those values? Then how am I actually using my time? And then from there, you need to reallocate your time use into healthy habits that then build into your values, which will then build into your future in your life, which will then build into your identity, and then trickle down all the way to your goals. So it's this feedback loop, right? And the biggest thing you have control over is the fundamental behaviors as well as the clarification. So it's important to start there. Now, let's move it on over, right, to actual goals. Because once you've actually started your goals, right, and you know what those are, then you're going to have a good, clear idea of essentially what you need to do after that. So what are the milestones? So today we'll talk about the sort of methodology I use to build those milestones. Then I'll talk about the actual goals that I set for Operation Goose Rocket that I was supposed to share the earlier week. So let's go do that. Anyway, so now that I've determined my values here at the top, right? So here I have my values there at the top. Now underneath my values, I'm going to have my 10-year vision, my 5-year day-to-day vision, my 1 year, my month-to-month, and then from that, my dailies. And then when you have that, essentially you're going to be able to determine what are worthwhile goals for you, right? Because you're going to know, hey, this is what's important and this is what I need to do. So here at the top with your values, so for me, my principal values are my relationship with the divine, right? Then my health. And then after my health, it's then my work, my purpose, right? So it starts off with my business, then it goes to like my writing, and then my YouTube channel, right? And those three, to be honest, kind of fluctuate because they're sort of like the 3 pillars of my mission that I am kind of embodying right now. I think the baseline more is my storytelling and my writing, but a lot of it, I feel, especially in this life, is like in this time right now, is my business. So the thing you'll notice is like your foundational values. So like my relationship with the divine and my health, those things never change, right? Those are the base core values that I hold. But then there are some other values that might be more flexible as we change and different priorities take over in my life. So there might be times when YouTube is more important than my writing, and writing is more important than my business, or vice versa, just depending on the pressure those things are. So those sort of top level values are where you'll get some fluctuation. But it's really important that those core foundational values never change, right? So once you determine what those are, you need to like really set on them. And if they're not things that you feel like you can live for your entire life, then you haven't gone deep enough, and you need to go down and drill down to what are those essential values. Because if you don't know those, you're not going to really be able to make any goals that are going to be sustainable. And then what happens after that is you're going to formulate your goals based upon the higher up the pyramid, those values that sort of fluctuate. You're going to hit your goals based off of that, because obviously as you hit goals, then the priorities are going to change in those higher level values, right? But ultimately they're all going to be there, right? So let's talk about what that looks like. So here you're going to have your 10-year vision, right? Because once you've determined your values, so for me, I have a 10-year vision where I want to see my business be worth 9 figures as an education platform. That's my personal goal. That's where I'd like to see it in 10 years. And after that, I want to have traditionally published 15 books, right? And finish 3 novella series, right? And then after that, I want to be happily married with kids, right? And then 2 million subscribers, right? And 2 million subscribers on my YouTube channel with 1 million views per month. That's what I want to see from my efforts in 1 decade from now, so 10 years. So that would be 2032, right? So what do I need to do that, right? Because that's my 10-year vision in terms of goals, right? Those are the higher level values. So that's my business, my books, my family, my YouTube channel, right? Those are those higher level values. And then obviously like you have the other values like money, relationships, blah, 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 blah. Right now, I'm probably ought to be prioritizing relationships. I've spent a lot of time doing that, and that was problematic. So that's more like a part of my health. I guess you could argue that relationships are important still for me, but to be honest, I'm trying to prioritize my purpose and my mission above those, right? And so everything's really centered around my relationship with the divine and my own emotional and spiritual health. And if I have that, then it's really like relationships really are auxiliary to that, right? I'm not putting anything before my mission right now. So that's just where I'm at. So anyway, I know what those 3 pillars are and what I want them to look like in 10 years, right? So because I'm clear about that, then I know, okay, my goals over those next 10 years need to reflect progression towards that. Now, obviously, you know, having a $100 million company, having, 15 traditional books out, a YouTube channel, 2 million, these are all exceptionally difficult goals. So how do we do that? How do we set the milestones for that? Make sure you clarify your values, right? And then once you have your values clarified, you want to go do your 10-year vision, right? And essentially write down, hey, what would I want my life to look like in 10 years, right? What is, sort of the 10-year best case scenario? And you want to write all this out and be like, what do I want? And the really important thing, like as a value, make sure you dream with the lid off. You can't put any restrictions on what you want this to look like. If you keep trying to rationalize or be realistic, you're gonna hurt yourself, right? And those are not goals that are worthwhile. You have to really move towards what your heart is wanting, right? And this is why you have to really do that deep work. And if you sense a lot of fear and restriction in that, that's something to be mindful of and recognize, okay, there's a lot of fear and you've probably been playing with the lid on. And if you play with the lid on, then if you want to be an author or an artist or anyone exceptional, right, beyond basic consumerism, and you want to be a creator, you have to learn to play with the lid off, right? And you have to really go for it. So a big part of that is you just have to really put down your truest heart's desire if everything could work out. And anything less than that just won't cut it. So sort of the general vision of your life. Then your 5-year day to day, which basically means like if you were to wake up, what time would you wake up? What would you do for bed? What would you be eating? Where would you be getting out of bed from? Where are you living? Who's around you? What does a snapshot of your day 5 years from now, if everything were to go up according to plan, what does that look like? And really write that out and make sure that it's clear and that you're good on that. Then after that, talk about what you want your 1 year to look like and be like, what do I think, or what would I like to be my best case scenario? If I could change and have a dramatic change in 1 year, what would that be like? And then really, really have that sit down with yourself and go from there, right? Let's see if we can get a little closer so you guys can see that. I'm not too worried about it. Maybe it's the lens. Anyway, so that's the 1 year. And then after your 1 year, you got to go to your month to month and then your daily. So once we start going to month and daily, here's the thing. So you're going to make a 1 year goal. So say your 1 year goal is, I want to write a book, right? Okay, so you're going to write 1 book in 1 year. You're going to set that date, right? That's really important. You have to set a date and a time that these things are going to be completed, right? So once you set that time for these things to be completed, then you have to say, okay, let me break it off. If I want this book to be 120,000 words, that means I gotta write 10,000 words a month, right? But I want to finish it and edit it, and let's say it takes about half that time. So really, let's do 6 months, 120,000 words in a first draft in 6 months, right? To do that, right, that's not so bad, right? That's 20,000 words a month, right? And if you do 20,000 words a month, right, in 4 weeks in an average month, that's 5,000 words a week. And so if you do 5,000 words a week, that's about 860, somewhere around there. Like it's about 860 words a day. So then you know what your daily goals are, right? You know what your daily KPI, which is like 860 some words or something a day, right? And then if you do that, give or take, right? And then you know on a weekly basis, you need to be hitting 5,000 words. And then you know in 5,000 words, I'm going to hit 20,000 words on a monthly basis. And if I hit 20,000 words on a yearly basis, then I'm going to have 120,000 by 6 months. And then I have another 6 months to edit and get that cleaned up. And then voila, your book's done. Pretty simple stuff, right? Making goals isn't that hard. The biggest thing is you just got to break it down in manageable chunks. And you got to have these habits set up for it. So remember, if I've got if I want to write 867 words a day, then what's the habit I need to have? Right? The habit I need to have is writing every day, right? But remember, I've already established that habit, right? Because if you haven't discussed the habit yet, you can't make the goal around a habit you haven't achieved. Right? Now you can try and implement a habit for the sake of a goal, but the issue is once you achieve that goal, the habit will drop. And then it's not building into the vision of who you like and who you want to be, right? Now there's obviously always going to be stages and times when we're going to have to prioritize certain habits more than others. However, really getting a routine down and making sure you're steadily progressing towards your goals is a big way to like really get them done. Anyway, that was what I wanted to talk about with the goals. So really make sure you guys go to break down from that 10-year plan, 5-year, 1 year, and then all the way down to what you're doing on a weekly basis to a month, day-to-day basis. And then you know whether or not you're hitting your goals, because if you're doing the things you need to do daily and you have the habits implemented, you're going to hit your goals. It's pretty simple, right? It's not really difficult. And so, I mean, it's difficult. It's not complicated, I'll say. And so that's really the most important thing. So then after that, I would like to talk about Operation Goose Rocket, right? So as you guys know, I am currently doing, on the Oni Yabor Raising Project, I am currently doing Operation Goose Rocket, which is essentially implementing habits and routines for the like next step in my journey, right? The essential objective of Operation Goose Rocket is to establish habits and routines that I can carry with me in my travels and set a foundation for my career moving forward, right? Now, as you guys know, I have the 3 career pillars. So like I have like my YouTube channel here, right? I have my business here, and then I have my writing here, right? And then obviously underneath that, like I have my self-development, right? Because that's the big thing, is really just develop, yeah. Okay, anyway, yeah. So self-development there in the middle, right? And the big deal is that really like the Oni Yabor Raising Project, everything I'm doing in my life is just to help me become the best version of myself possible. And these are the 3 things that I saw to help me do that, right? And obviously get a family and all that stuff, but you can't really make goals because you can't make goals around people loving you. You just can't do it. Or I'm not able to do it. If you guys have figured it out, put some comments down below and let me know. And then before we go into the actual milestones for the Oni Yabor Raising Project, please like and subscribe. Let me know if this was helpful to you guys. Comment. I'm merely interested to see what your guys' 10-year visions are and what you guys would like to achieve, and if this was helpful to you. So please like and subscribe, and I'll continue on with the milestones, the public milestones that people are going to have to keep me accountable on, and that I have to tell the whole world. So you guys are going to know what I'm actually striving for with this, right? So Operation Goose Rocket will be completed, right? So December 30th. So December 30th, 2022, right? Here are the goals. There are 4 main goals that I'm trying to get done, right? So for the goals, there's a financial goal, which is to make, I feel, it's weird, I feel publicly, how about this, if I get, because I have like almost nobody, if I get 10 likes, I'll be specific, I'll tell you guys specifically what the financial goal is, right? Because I don't know, it's weird. I'll tell you guys if you do it, but I gotta get at least 10 likes on this video. And then if I don't, you know, I'm just gonna do that. But basically it's to 2x the max income I've made in a month, right? And then I want to do that. So the max income I've ever made is a specific number in my head, right? I want to make double that in a single month, right? So I'm trying to double the most I've ever made in a month, right? So that's my financial goal. Then with each of the pillars, right? So for YouTube, I just want to monetize my channel, right? And so to monetize my channel, I need 4,000 hours of watch time and 1,000 subscribers. So I gotta get 4,000 hours of people watching my videos, and then 1,000 subs. So, you know, if I gotta make a lot of 10-minute videos, and I got a lot of people to watch them. So that's what I need to do to monetize my YouTube channel. Then after that, with my writing, my goal is to reach Compendium 2 of The Girl and the Beast. and all three volumes. So that's volumes 3, 4, and 5, right? As well as the paperback compendium of Girl and the Beast Volume 3, right? I've set dates for those, and I need to do that by the end of December 20th, 2022. So to do that, I really just need to set dates and have these ready for pre-order, right? 2 to 3 of them will already be out by then. Obviously, when Volume 5 drops, I'm just going to drop the compendium as well. So those will be releasing at the same time. But yeah, so I'm going to be releasing those as well. So look out for that. You guys will be hearing those in the videos. And then final, but certainly not least, the last milestone for Operation Goose Rocket is going to be in my business, right? So in my business, I want to have 40 plus clients, right? I want to be helping 40 people hit their writing goals, match their dreams, and yeah, in my company, helping them land. I'm a little bit off that now, so I've got to get pretty aggressive. But yeah, that's the goals, is to have 40 plus clients by the end of the year. And those are the milestones for Operation Goose Rocket. When I hit these milestones by this date, Operation Goose Rocket will be a success, right? So right now we are on day, because I'm a little late with this video, I'm on day 25 of Operation Goose Rocket. So yeah, I still got about 140 days left. So I've got to get going, and every week you're going to see these update videos where we'll talk about one aspect. I'm hoping to like really up the quality and stuff like that. And now we're at the end of the video. I just want to say like and subscribe, as well as if you want to put in a submission for a question or a submission for to be workshopped with your writing. So that's a first chapter or short story on your book that you want to get checked out, as well as like any other sort of chapter you want. If you want to give a synopsis, whatever, you can look down in the link below. I'll have a submission form for that, and then I'll read it on the rest of the videos outside of the Goose Rocket updates. And yeah, I look forward to anything you guys have to say with the comments and how I can improve these videos. Really give a like and subscribe. It super helps me out, and get towards those goals. And every week at the end of these Goose Rocket videos, I'm gonna give you guys updates on the milestones and how I'm doing, right? So that'll be a nice little thing and get some public accountability going. Anyway, I hope you guys are all doing well. And finally, I want you to remember, stay happy, stay healthy. You are the author of your life, so keep writing. Peace.